All right, welcome back on a Wednesday. There is a lot going on in the world right now. We don't have to tell you that. You know, doctors say the effects of the stress can go far beyond just a bad mood or a sleepless night. Joining us now is Dr. Rowe, a Houston physician who spent more than 30 years practicing emergency and internal medicine, to explain how stress affects the body and simple steps that we can take to protect ourselves in all of this. So thank you for coming in, Doctor.
Thanks. Nice to be here, Jacob.
What's the first thing that we should know about stress, and maybe the difference between stress and chronic stress?
That's an excellent question. I think the one thing that we should know is stress is actually good for us. Acute stress, that's how our body responds, and that's how we build up resilience. But chronic stress, it's horrible for us. You know, our bodies were built for sprinting, not for marathon.
In terms of stress, that's
in terms of stress.
That's a good way to put it. What does that look like or feel like? Acute stress versus chronic stress. How do you know the difference?
Okay, so acute stress, you're going to have the fight or flight. You're going to know your heart rate's going to be up. You're going to be excited or scared or fearful. Some emotion is going to be triggered by some event.
Got it.
You hope that that stress clears out over time, that the event clears out. Think of it this way: 200,000 years ago, we were predators. I mean, and we had predators. We escaped the predators. That activated the stress response, and then once the threat was gone, we were nice and calm again.
Got it.
But in today's world, we don't have calm. We don't have recovery. We're constantly distracted, and we're constantly stimulated. That's why we have chronic stress.
Got it. Is the fact that everything is constantly available to us, the news of the very worst on our phones, does that contribute to chronic stress?
That's exactly right. I mean, you know, I would say that it's not stress, it's more lack of recovery. Because when we're constantly stimulated by our phones, we're activating dopamine. We're never getting our system time to rest. And our nervous system needs to rest, and our nervous system needs to feel safe for us to recover. So
it sounds like, if I'm hearing you right, one of the answers to chronic stress is to give your body that recovery. What does that look like?
Absolutely. So what it looks like is, say if you're overwhelmed right now or stressed, I mean, you're taking the kids to school, obviously it's chaotic. You just have to be able to, I call it the 3 A's, be aware of the situation. The awareness takes away that loop, takes you out of that storm, lets you kind of observe what's going on rather than be a part of it. And then to acknowledge self-compassion. This is hard. You know, what I do is really hard. And kind of the backdrop of that is that because what you're doing is hard, you don't really get any appreciation, or you feel underappreciated, which causes more stress.
Got it.
And then another thing, that the last A, is to take some action. So recovery, walk, get away from your phone, take some deep breaths, and really, what I tell everyone is self-care is the most unselfish thing you can do.
Ooh. Wait, say that again.
Self-care is the most unselfish thing you can do.
Now, is that because if I make sure that I take some rest and breaks and that I'm feeling better and more stable, then I can show up better for my family and my friends and others?
You're the best version of yourself. That's the best thing you can give to your friends, to the world. Another thing I wanted to mention that's very interesting, in today's world, we have what we call the triple caretaker effect. That is, you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your kids, usually you might be taking care of your parents, but you're taking care of your work. You know, you're basically overloaded. So I think a lot of that is just the supply and demand issue of stress. You are just burning it at both ends of the candle, and you're never recovering, and that's a problem.
One of the headlines for me in this conversation, which I've thought about, but it's helpful to really pause and go back and forth on it, is that we are creating a lot of our own stress when we fail to put away the phone, the TV, or something to give ourselves more pause, more recovery time, as you put it.
And you know what else that comes into play? If we stay on our phones, you know, our biggest, well, at work we hate being micromanaged, right?
Yes.
I mean, you know, you just hate being someone down your throat looking at everything.
We got an amen in the background
from
Jen.
There you go. So, but guess what? The worst micromanaging boss that you'll ever have is your own inner critic.
Ooh,
So, I mean,
good.
you will say everything, you say things to yourself that you would never say to anyone else. And when you're under stress, your inner critic gets louder, and that makes everything worse.
that is some good advice. You got to slow down and think about this kind of stuff. Hey, that's all the time that we have. We hope to have you back. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.